Tonight, dear friends, as you know, is going to be one of the most important events in the election heretofore. And enough cannot be said as far as what it is. Enough cannot possibly be said. Nothing. As we are looking at this, the 34, 35 days until the election, think about what we're saying. We're seeing people for the very first time start to say, okay, now let's look around here. What do we have? And that may be difficult for you to grasp because we've been with this every step of the way. We've watched every moment, every hiccup, everything that went wrong. We've been watching this and we have been thinking that, well, certainly everybody is going to be following what we're saying, right? Everybody is going to be as interested as we have. No. Not only that, the forces behind whoever they are, whether it's the left or the Democrats or whatever you want to call these people, the people who are behind Kamala are now in the position where they're asking themselves, what do we do? What do we do? I actually heard, I was listening to something, I forget what it was. I know what it was. It was, I think it was Breaking Points or something. And the Ezra Kleins and the New York Times, who basically came out obviously endorsing Kamala. But they were actually reiterating, regurgitating, and rehashing this thing called Project 2025. So help me God. They really, honestly, still think it means something. I have never, and I mean this, I have never been as shocked by a lack of a performance as I have the Democrats heretofore. I mean it. And I want you to take everything that you're saying. I want you to just step back. We know how we feel. We know what we feel about President Trump. We understand that. To really feel good about this, look at this objectively and find out and ask yourself the question, what is it that is the mood right now? Everything she has done in the past week, everything has been a disaster. She can't do a fake photo op on Air Force 2 where nobody came in and say, okay, we're going to stage this. First of all, you're not going to be getting a bunch of, here, write some notes down. You're taking notes. No, you should be on the phone talking. You should do that classic looking out of Air Force 2, meeting with people, meeting with your subordinates, elevated to them, have that jacket on that says Madam Vice President or whatever it is. She doesn't know how to do stagecraft. And the part of me keeps saying, and Mrs. L and I were discussing this, is it because they don't know or they don't care or they figure they've got it wrapped up but it doesn't matter? I don't know. We can pretend this all day long, but whoever is involved in her message should be fired for political incompetence. Just that picture, just this one. And they're showing her phone's not plugged in. She's writing notes, blank pieces of paper. They're also showing, and sometimes I don't know what to make out of this. They're showing a ring that she wore, that Podesta wore. I don't know about that stuff. I don't know enough about whether she's a part of some Illuminati sect or that. I can't help you with that. Don't even go there. No need to go there. Just look at what's going on. They don't even know how to get somebody to say, how do we set this scene? Somebody, you would think somebody from Spielberg, from whatever, would be hired to just come on board and say, we're going to set your scene up. We want you speaking. We want you wearing a jacket. We want to get some people in the military. We want to show you giving orders, not you alone in a room taking notes, meaning somebody is talking to you and you're taking notes where your phone is not plugged in. I do not believe, notwithstanding the advances in technology, that you would be on a cell phone talking to somebody. I don't believe that. I think you would have a regular phone, an actual scrambled, secure phone line. At least that's what you should convey. You make everything seem plausible. You make everything seem exactly the way it is. Now, here on this is the most important. And I'm going to say this just for a second. And I don't mean to interrupt, but I will. Dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas began walking the picket lines early today, over wages and automation that could reignite inflation, cause shortages of goods, foods, you name it. The contract between the ports and about 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association expired at midnight. And even though progress was supposedly on its way, the talk will affect 36 ports and is the first by the union since 1977. Workers have begun picketing at the port of Philadelphia shortly after midnight, walking in a circle at a rail crossing outside the port and chanting, "No work without a fair contract." And the union also had message boards that said, "Automation hurts families. ILA stands for job protection." Excuse me. Remember that bridge that somehow was inadvertently, accidentally crushed, destroyed on the way to DC? That, I don't know whatever happened there. Mark Davis says Trump should demand she take a hair follicle drug test. In my opinion, that is the only way to explain her erratic behaviors. You can't be serious, but thank you for the comedic relief. Thank you for that. Now, we are looking at, and you are looking at, and I can't say this enough, dear friends, you are looking at absolute horrors coming up that we have not been able to conceive of. And I've been talking about this for the longest time. And this may seem like an inopportune or maybe opportune or whatever point, but I am telling you right now, preparewithlionel.com. Every hint, everything is telling you, every bit of information, everything is saying, pay attention, emergency food, get ready for this. This is going to be more and more and more and more and more. I put it right here for you. Right here, my friends. Preparewithlionel.com. There's a $50 special. This is happening. Remember what I told you a while back. And I say this not certain shows have certain stories, certain things. Israel, Middle East, you have absolutely no idea what's happening with that. If you listen to anybody from Fox to Piers Morgan to whatever it is, you don't even want to go there. Not for this show. It just doesn't, no. Let others talk about it. It's beyond anything. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. If you don't see how we're getting sucked into that, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe not now. I don't want to load you up with too much stuff. That's number one. Number 2 is Ukraine. Ukraine's another story, or Ukraine, as some people say. Or the Ukraine. I like that. The Ukraine, the Donald, the Christ, that is another horror story. The other horror story is what not AI, not automation, but a revolution the likes of which you can't believe. I was just reading this morning, there was a major the layoffs of everything you can imagine. And when you have people who are looking at dock workers and the like, compared to, let's say, China, one little glitch, one little problem, one hiccup, one sympathetic voice in the chain of delivery, and you're going to see stores closed, back up, delayed, because one of the things you want to do, I'm sorry, but it's true, if you're trying to make the world aware of your importance, you want people to feel the pain of what happens when docks close. If I ran it and I said, let's say I was just a really unscrupulous person, I would make the American public freak out every time they hear dock, longshoreman, so that people say, give them what they want. And the only way that's going to happen is to make people feel the pain of something. We have been so lucky for so long. So prepare with Lionel. It's not going to prevent these things, but if you don't act now, if you don't take all of the hints that they're giving you and what's in store, this is just it's bigger than anything you've ever seen. Here's one for you. CVS, the big stores, are laying off about 3,000 employees. 3,000 employees nationwide. This is 3,000 jobs. You're seeing it there. You're seeing changes everywhere. Wait until Amazon. Remember, Mrs. L has said this, and I believe her. Everything is going to be Amazon. Everything. Amazon communities, Amazon villages, Amazon universities, Amazon gas, Amazon stores, Amazon drugstores, delivery, Amazon everything. Mom and pop, who needs it? You are about to see a revolution that some people can call progress, the likes of which you cannot even conceive of. Raul says, if Trump wins, what will happen on the streets? Nothing. Victory. Judas Goat Barbecue, the longshoremen went on strike because President Biden was too busy in collective bargaining with the Houthis, yes, in the Yemen strike. LOL. Hit that like button. Indeed. You have right now an absentee administration. This is bigger. Now, let me just say, remember, I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, and there's too much. People are saying, whoa, wait. I don't know how to use AI, this, longshoremen. What are we talking about? This, Middle East. See, I can't do this. You have to pick one subject, and I know what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people do not want to talk about certain things. There's so much, so many places going. I told you this years ago. There was this fellow named Eric Brin who was on Ed Sullivan. He would spin plates, these thousands of hundreds of plates, and it was the most incredible thing in the world. Okay, prepare with Lionel. Let me start off. I want to go back and I want to explain why tonight is. Tonight's going to be one of the most important issues there is. And I want you to see what's going on. First and foremost, how do you know when something is going to change? How do you know when there's a change? How do you know? How do you know when things are really changing? How do you know? Well, one of the things you got to understand is look at what the mood is. Now, I'm going to try this again. I have, for the longest time, my friends, always told you that the best thing to do, the best thing for you to do, is to always look at what fads are. Look at what people are saying. Look at what people are saying. Look what they're wearing. Look how they're acting. Look at expressions. Look at I always like to notice new expressions, new ideas, new things, new points, new everything. Why are they saying this? Why are they wearing this? I told you, and I'm going to say this again, dear friends. I told you that one of the most important things I've ever seen was the overnight explosion of the tattoo. Why did they become popular? Why? How so fast? How does an image of something happen? When people like Trump or don't like Trump, how does that work? Why do these things come about? Now, what happened was, remember, there's a number of balances here. Trump can gain in popularity or he can lose in popularity. That does not mean necessarily that Kamala is rising in popularity. It doesn't mean she's lowering. The two have nothing to do with each other. If fewer people attend NFL games, that doesn't mean necessarily that more people are going to start attending baseball. The two have nothing to do with each other. If this goes down, this doesn't necessarily go up. They're kind of independent, but not really. Trump has absolutely they have shot their wad sort of. I'm sorry to use for, but think of wadding in terms of like pistols and ammo. They've done everything. They've hit you with everything there is. There's no more. We have no neuroreceptors anymore for Trump. We don't. We just don't. There's nothing you can say. His hair, his hat, the orange, his voice, nothing. Stormy Daniels is a 34 nothing. They did it too soon. 35, 34 days before the election. And you follow what I'm saying? There's nothing there anymore. There's nothing. It's just there. Whatever you feel about him, it's there. It's stuck. It's frozen. You understand what I'm saying? It's stuck. There's nothing you can do. We can't like him anymore. People can't hate him anymore. There's nothing. There's no new. There's no new coming in. There's no new busloads of anti-Trumpers. They're not there. Follow? Good. She is cratering. Think about it as an implosion of a building falling on its own footprint, just straight down. She is just collapsing. Everything she does, everything she touches turns to, you know what I'm talking about. She didn't go to the border. I don't know why. She laughed about it. She will be forever known as, you didn't go to the border. I didn't go to Europe. Nobody even understands what that means. Did you see her? Please go to my YouTube channel at Lionel. It's right here, my link here. Lionel Media on not YouTube, X, Twitter, whatever it's called. There's a picture of her yesterday. I don't want to keep showing you clips because I think I'm wasting my time. I think it's kind of having a negative effect. I don't want to be a clip machine every day. But anyway, there's a picture of her. Please watch it. She doesn't take a question. She looks so nervous. She looks so nervous. This isn't her thing. Did you see this? They pick up on it. That's number one. Number two, going to the border, the 20-minute drive-by, double parked, hey, out the door, a disaster. It's not converting. Nothing is working. Nothing. And the best the best of the best of the best. This is, and again, I've been accused of being so conspiratorial. I'm thinking they must be doing one of two things. One, Biden is so pissed off at her and the Democrats. He says, I'm not going to lift a finger. I'm going to make it. I want her to lose. I want the Democrats to lose. I want to be able to say, well, that's what happens when you don't pick me and I'm Mr. Brain Damage. Look what you did. You picked her. That's okay. Don't think for a moment he's not doing that. Don't think for a moment he's not doing that. Don't think for a moment he's not doing that. That's number one. Number two, and this is even more Twilight Zone-y. Do you think she could be throwing this in? Do you think if you sat around with her and you're throwing a few drinks back and you're talking and you're just, doing it, and you said to her, let me ask you a question. Do you really want this? Do you really, really want this? Let me ask you a question. Time out. Have you ever done anything in your life that later on you said to yourself, why did I do that? Some people get married. They get married at a certain age because they want to settle down. And they don't understand, but you have to be in love and this is forever. And they said, yeah, I don't know why I did that. Why did you do that? I don't know. I don't know why I did that. Why'd you drop out of school? I don't know. I don't know why I did that. I just kind of did it. I wasn't paying attention. Seemed like the thing to do. I don't know. Why'd you quit that job? I don't know. And regret's the worst feeling in the world. Why did you do? I don't know. Why did you move? I don't know. Why did you tell your boss? I don't know. It just seemed like I just got caught up in it. And I see it a lot of times, believe it or not, especially when sometimes, not always, but you can always tell when young people are getting married too early. You're saying they're getting caught up in this. Well, they've been together for a long time. And, Christine and Jeremy have been together for, it's about time. They got to settle down. No. I've never understood that. Well, it's been about time. About time? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Been about time. About time. What in the world? What does this mean? Okay. If you sat down with Kamala, I will bet you anything. I will bet you anything. I will bet you anything that they do not, how do I say this? That they will not, for lack of a better word, how do I say this? That she will tell you, you know what? I really can't. I can't tell you. I can't. I don't know why. I thought I wanted to do this, but maybe not. I don't know. I thought maybe. I'm not sure. Kamala, do you really want that? Do you feel this? No. Do you know what this means? No. Her whole life has been like, okay, here she is. Hey, she's one of Willie's girls. Okay, she was a lawyer. Okay, fine. Then she's a DA. This is pretty good. AG, all right. You can still kind of, but there wasn't that desire to go all the way, so to speak. And then there's this other issue, which we're seeing in the case of, and this is critical, this other issue that we're seeing in the case of, for example, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom wants it bad. Trump wants it bad. She doesn't have it. And that's the thing. Do you think Tampon Timmy really wants this? Seriously? I went through it yesterday. I went through his the horrible facts of the case, and it's been this disgusting, terrible story. I told you about this, about Worthington, Minnesota. In fact, one of our members lived. Do you think he really wants this? No. Do you think this is the thing that this guy is, this is the trajectory he's wanted? No. And it shows. I told you about this in the event you missed it. Hurricane Betsy in 1965. Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson was as close to a psychopath, if not ever. I mean, this guy was a killer. And Lyndon Johnson, interestingly enough, was this person who lived and breathed and actually everything you can imagine. Everything that you can imagine, he was. Hurricane Betsy, September the 9th, 1965. Russell Long, senator, calls him up and says, you got to do something. You've got to show these people you love them. He goes, look, I'm busy here. You don't understand. And Hale Boggs came, this guy Ellis, I think. And Russell Long knew something. He knew the politician, because LBJ was a consummate politician. He says, you lost Louisiana in 64. If you show up today, he said, I think what the quote was, Eisenhower couldn't beat you. He said, okay, that's all he needed. So he gets Russell, he gets this, he gets this. They fire up Marine One off to Andrews Air Force Base, and they went to, first of all, they're looking, and there's a picture of him looking out the window. Remember that picture of Bush looking at 9/11? Remember that? This was stagecraft then, compared to Kamala, who's sitting there with her little thing, just writing notes in this little room by herself. She looked like she's in timeout, this kind of ugly, sad room. And the way she was like lower than the table. Everything about it was wrong. Everything about it was wrong. Okay. Here comes LBJ. And he shows up, and there's either a church or some kind of building or something that was there. I don't know what it was exactly. And lo and behold, these black folks are, I don't know, sandbags or whatever it is. He walks in. He has a flashlight. He illuminates himself. Imagine seeing that big old head. And he gets on a bullhorn and he says, this is Lyndon Baines Johnson. I am your president. And I'm here to help. And these black folks said, that looks a hell of a lot like Johnson. It is. They couldn't believe it. From that moment on, that was like the first baby that was kissed, or that was the first, you know how they come on the stage and they always point out people? I don't know who started that one, but Reagan did the saluting. That was the moment that cemented all politicians. You always show up for a disaster. Rudy Giuliani was the best. When Rudy was mayor, he drove around in this kind of before SUVs were really SUVs, he had a jacket. If there was a water main break, he put on sanitation, put the jacket on, put the hat, with these people behind him. If a traffic light went up, transportation, put the thing. If there was a shooting, if a police officer scraped his elbow, he was at the hospital. Rudy was 24/7. Everything that happened, he was there. Front and center. He was a genius. He was a political animal, but he was a great mayor. She has no clue. She doesn't get it. And tonight, J.D. Vance is going to kill him. And this is going to be, listen to Uncle Lenny. Listen to what I'm telling you. Because on paper, this doesn't make any sense. This is going to be the end of everything. This one will put them over the top. She was bad. He's worse. It doesn't matter that he's just the vice president. It doesn't matter that he's, oh, no. We're not talking about that. He is the worst. You don't understand how this thing goes. You don't grasp how this thing goes. You don't understand it. You can't possibly see it. You can't. There's no way you can. There's no way you can understand how this thing works. None. It doesn't. And we can talk about what particular story a lot of people don't know about. Did you lie about your, okay, we've heard about people lying about military. Did you lie about the cast? Did you lie about whatever? Yeah, you can do this. And they're also making JD Vance out to be, well, he might not be the best choice. Well, he might not be why are people saying that? How many of you find people see any real problem with JD Vance? I don't. You're telling me that he's not what? He's not what? You're saying that. I'm not saying that. And people are just repeating the theme. Well, maybe he's not. What? What about him? Well, I don't know. What? Well, no, he's not. He's fine. And what he's got to do, remember, we're talking about you need like a customato. You need a cut man. You need somebody who says, here's what you're going to do. What is our goal today? JD, what is your goal? Your goal is nothing. They're not going to vote for Trump because, hey, that JD Vance is a great guy. No. Your job is to draw out this lunatic and make him look like a lunatic. Hit him hard. You've got nothing to do. JD, they will not disqualify you if you're a prick. Pardon my French. Let me say this again. I don't think you heard me. If you are absolutely the worst, you know what they're going to remember tomorrow? His reaction, not yours, because we live in a troll mentality. We want to see people trolled. Just look around you. Look what we look. In the old days, we said, boy, did you see Reagan when Reagan said, well, there you go again. Wow, that was great. What was that? For then, that was like, boy, it was between the eyes there. Boy, he didn't see what was happening. Well, there you go again. Oh, Jesus, God. I can't get enough of that. What? There you go again. There you go again. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. There you go again. There you go again. All right. Fair enough. Now, what's even more difficult or hard to understand or grasp or whatever the particular phrase is, whatever it is the idea and the notion that you've got to go in there for the kill. I mean, for the kill. You've got to let them have it. And you've got to do something that draws this lunatic out because he's never, ever been. Now, they probably have more internal stuff. I would hope they have almost like ex-Intel behavioral specialists and the like. I hope. Dear God, I hope. Okay, fine. This is a different story. This is like nothing we've ever seen before. And they're going to go in and they're going to hit him hard. And you're going to do everything. But more importantly, I don't want you to hit him with a fact because he can argue a fact. I want you to draw out his personality. He's a lunatic. I don't know whether he flipped off those people. I can't tell. Sometimes you can't tell. You see this piece going around on the social media. He supposedly flipped off. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I can't believe he'd be that stupid. But listen, nothing this guy's ever done that is beyond stupid. Okay. But here is the story. And this is what's critical for everybody to understand and grasp. This is the thing which is so important. This is it. America has just had it. And all of a sudden, if they clean up more, I hope more of these ballots. I told you yesterday, which was the most important news as an example, because maybe the RNC is doing something. Maybe, I hope so. Maybe they're finally doing something. But North Carolina removed over 750 100,000 ineligible voters. That's just North Carolina. If you take away, they're planning to move in with the write-ins, absentee votes. That's what they're planning. That's their target. And they're going to do this. And you've got to make sure, as I've been saying, and many of us have been saying since day one. Now, here's what we're going to do. And this is very, very critical. You must understand the following. Today's special. We're going to meet at 7 p.m. tonight, of course. We're going to watch this from 9 to 10:30. And then we're going to meet immediately thereafter for a review. And I want you to make sure when you watch this tonight, and we'll talk more about this, I don't want you to think of a moment. I don't want you to think of like that was the moment. No, I want you to get a feeling, an overall feeling. And what they are realizing right now more than ever is that this woman is losing. I mean, this was a mistake from the beginning, and they have tried everything in their power. And I mean everything. They've tried everything in their power. Everything. I mean, this is incredible. Remember during the DNC, remember this. At the DNC, 16 former members, remember this, of the Mankato West High School football team took to the stage in a tribute to Tim Walz. Remember that one? He was their coach. This is what the coach. Senator Amy Klobuchar said, in Minnesota, we trust the coach who turned the team that was 0-27 into state champions. And Americans who are watching that might have left with this kind of a feeling that, wow, this guy was instrumental behind this triumph, the rise of the underdog. But it wasn't true. In fact, listen to this. The head coach of the all victorious group known as the Scarlets was a man named Rick Sutton. Wait a minute, what? Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, was a social studies teacher. He was simply one of several assistant coaches under this Sutton who worked primarily with defensive players. And for his part, this Rick Sutton, this coach, shows no, hard feelings for Tampon Tim getting the credit. But he's also left no doubt as to who was in charge. Listen to this. Tim was really great at selling his point of view and then accepting a different direction, he said. But at some point, somebody has to make that decision, and that's going to be the head coach. He lied about being the head coach of this team. He lied about that very thing. Now, this may not seem like much to you. You might say, well, what's it? If you're going to lie about this, you'll lie about anything. He didn't have to do that. Kamala told the DNC crowd, this was our coach. And Americans might have thought, wow, this guy was the coach. No. This guy exaggerates his coaching resume, his military. And they've been pushing him into this ridiculous, these stories. And he never corrected the record, never. I mean, this is incredible. In fact, when you talk about the other stuff that he said, it seems like, like it's kind of really nothing much. J.D. Vance is going to just destroy him. Military service. Oh, my God. And Vance has got to go and, You weren't even the coach. When Walz responds, you go to the next one. It was Rick Sutton, not you. And then whatever Walz says, you said you lied about that. You lied about being the head coach. You weren't the head coach. And you took this coach, just keep talking, no matter what he says. If he said, that's not your, hey, stop. No, keep saying it. And he'll look like a fool. And people will say, he lied about that. It's true. Tampon Tim spent 24 years in the Nebraska and the Minnesota Army National Guard. No problem. But in a 2018 video, he was speaking and talking about stricter gun control laws. He made the statement that's haunted him since. We can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at. In war. He clearly suggests he was in combat. Never happened. He was only, I think they deployed him once to Italy, which is, war is hell, but, in 2003, he was assigned to providing some kind of security for a military base that was involved in supporting the ongoing Iraq effort. He was never sent to a war zone. And then after the 2018 video that came about, he claimed, well, I misspoke. That English thing, And then in August 29th, he sat down with that horrible Dana Bash. Remember that? Talk about bad stagecraft. In the dark, in this diner, with Dana Bash, and there's Tampon Timmy. Dana Bash even said, you said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign officer said that you misspoke. Did you? Listen what he said. Well, my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. Your grammar? We're not talking past tense, past participles. Then the members of his National Guard came after him, let him have it for his decision to retire from the National Guard right before they were deployed because he wanted to run for Congress instead. He said, well, I didn't know. He knew exactly what was going on. This is the most incredible thing in the world. And he's evasive. He's duplicitous, excuse me. My wife told me my grammar is not always correct. And Bash didn't push him. Never, nothing. It's the most incredible thing in the world. In campaign literature for his 2006 run, he was for his representing Minnesota in Congress. His 2018, he all kept talking about this retired command sergeant major. He said, I'm a retired command sergeant major. He repeated it. I'm a command sergeant major. Even though he did briefly serve as a command sergeant major, he didn't keep that title after he retired. Instead, he retired at a still good master sergeant, never having completed the coursework required to retain the more senior title. But that's not what he said. It's not what he said. There was a colonel, a Minnesota colonel, John Kolb, who said that his reputation was excellent. Tampon Timmy's was excellent. But he was kind of nonplussed by the way Tampon Timmy had overstated his rank. He said, this is not the behavior I would expect out of a senior non-commissioned officer. Then there's a drunk driving arrest. Walz's attorney admitted in court that he had been drinking when he was stopped for driving 96 in the 55-mile-an-hour zone in Chadron, Nebraska. A blood test showed his alcohol was above the legal limit. In the end, he pled guilty to a lesser charge of reckless driving, lost his license for 90 days, paid a fine. 11 years later, as the DUI arrest made headlines during his congressional campaign, his campaign team unbelievably claimed he hadn't been drinking at all. The DUI charge was dropped for a reason if it wasn't true. But his lawyer said, no, he had been drinking. So he lied about that. The resume, it goes on and on. How about economic lies? How about his links to China? It just goes on and on and on. And they have to just let this guy have it. Let this guy have it. You got to understand this. It's critical. Absolutely critical. White Monkey says weather modification, lithium deposits in North Carolina. Interesting. Hard to make that connection, but interesting. Marcus Ferguson says JD will make Timmy wish he bought more tampons to the debate. Indeed. Crypto says incredible Uncle Lenny. Thank you. White Monkey says $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill of 2021 ports on strike. Dams fail in North Carolina. Another Biden failure. Oh, this is just... Now, remember, Biden, as you said, he said, what about the strike? And he thought they were talking about the Yemen strike, the Houthis, and he thought they were talking about the collective bargaining strike. This is where we are with these people. This is where we are. Now, this can go on and on and on. But Vance has to go after him one after another. IVF. He said that President Trump never said this. His wife never had IVF. It was intrauterine insemination. It wasn't. She said that. He got that one wrong. I don't know if he got it wrong. He didn't know. He's lying. You just can't get up here, Tim, and just start throwing things around. Words matter. When you're talking to members of the rest of the world and you give them your word, I don't care if you're vice president or congressman or a mayor, and you say things, words and precision matter. And your words don't matter. You just don't seem to care. That's the issue. And remember what I'm telling you, tonight, they're not going to know what hit them. They're not going to know what hit them. They're not going to believe this. This is a part that is going to blow people away. This is incredible. Maybe this in March, this IVF thing kills me. In March, after Alabama halted IVF procedures in the state, Walz decided, for reasons nobody knows, to divulge the difficulties he and his wife, Gwen, who is another nutcase, had encountered when trying to have children. His team was sending out this fundraising literature entitled Our IVF Journey, and sharing an article that references family's IVF journey. In July, he spoke again about his IVF journey. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have 2 beautiful children. He also used the topic to go after J.D. Vance, saying in August, if it was up to him, I wouldn't have a family because of IVF. Got that? In truth, he didn't even depend on IVF. They never used IVF. Never. Gwen, his wife, said, well, it was a different procedure called intrauterine insemination. Basically, put sperm cell into the uterus. It's a different story. And during his speech at the DNC, days later, after his wife clarified this, quote, in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. And that includes IVF and infertility treatments. And this is personal for Gwen and I, should be me. If you've ever experienced the hell that is infertility, again, he just speaks. He lies. And what he has to do, and what our dear friend J.D. Vance has to say repeatedly, is that he just lies. He says whatever he wants. He thinks some jazz hands and some pointing and the coach and I'm a better shot than you. And, if you're going to lie about something that doesn't matter. Have you ever noticed? Let me explain something to you. In your own life, I've known some. I know people and have known people who lie about stuff that doesn't even matter. Have you ever noticed this? You ever noticed this? They lie. They lie about things that nothing. I saw Joe the other day. Never did see Joe. Oh, I went the other day. Never went there. And you're wondering why is he lying? He's lying about something that's I've known this. It's a real sickness, and I've seen this before. And it blows me away. And I wonder, why do people do this? Why in the name of God do they do this? What is the point behind it? Why do people lie? That's him. You can't do this when you represent the country because people listen to you. And these lies have consequences. And what the lying does is it shows a disrespect for you. They think they're conning you. They think he can pull off whatever he can do his jazz hands and comes out, and you're just going to buy this stuff. And it goes double for her. She has never shown the slightest interest in any of this. She wants to be and act like a president, I guess. Maybe. I don't know what she wants. I can't figure this out. It's hard work. It's briefing. In 3.5 years, she could have learned these issues cold. She's not a dumb woman. She just doesn't care. She figured just being me is enough. Laughing and dancing and falling out of a coconut tree and saying whatever I want, and then 2 weeks later changing my mind. She thought that she could fool you with razzmatazz, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Ladies and gentlemen, this is beyond serious. This is beyond serious. You've got to be able to trust these people. These people lied about things nobody even asked them about. Nobody even knew about. He didn't lie about something that, well, did you do this? No, he volunteered this. It's called embellishment. And it shows a lack of character. We can't have that in this country. You deserve more. That's it. But he's got to go for a moment that will be the social media moment tomorrow. Something that goes viral. You know how she did this? He's got to do something like something. And he's also got to pretend that the interrogators aren't there. When Tampon Timmy says something, Vance has got to do something like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That was a lie. Did you hear it?" Just something that, and they're going to be editing this, and it'll be in a meme tomorrow. Turns out they're going to be right in the hood on 57th Street, right there at the CBS studios, right in the hood. In the hood. He's got to do something. Go for it. Go for it. And you could say, you know what's weird? Let me see. What's the word? Oh yeah, weird. You know what's weird? What's weird is to lie about a rank when nobody's asking you. Howie Brown says Tim Walz finally is having a day of reckoning. He will no longer bob and weave through his lying life. Or you're right. And it will finally come to pass where people will say, especially Minnesotans, damn. I mean, he's bad and everything, but damn. This is horrid. Damn. This is worse than anything we ever thought even was possible. Damn. How does that even work? It's incredible, is it not? It's absolutely incredible how this works. So, in any event, dear friends, dear great and glorious and fabulous friends, tonight is going to be it. Make sure you please, I beg, make sure you stay with us during the course of everything. Make sure you stay in the course of tonight's piece. 7 p.m. we're going to do our regular kind of what to expect. And then I think it's 9 to 10:30, and then afterwards we'll do it. We'll come back. Remember, this is critical stuff. Absolutely, positively critical. So Howie Brown, my dear friend, I thank you. White Monkey, Crypto Domini, Marcus Ferguson, Judas Goat Barbecue, Raul Rodriguez, Mark Davis, attorney. Oh, this is huge. This is beyond huge, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying this to be cute or whatever. I mean it like you can't believe. This is something that is beyond really nothing we've ever seen before. It's incredible. And I don't know how anybody can possibly, and I mean this, I don't know how he or anybody can possibly justify this lunacy. I don't know. In any event, dear friends, that's where we are. I thank you immensely. Thank you for this. Thank you for your being a part of all of this. You have been nothing but superb, and I thank you for that. How do we say this? Well, let me see. Let me see something here. Let me check something. Well, that's it. All right, dear friends. We have a lot to get ready to watch today. Make sure you stay subscribed to Lionel Nation, as well as Lynn's Warriors. Remember, she was on last night, did a tremendous show live. Lynn's Warriors. Remember, fighting for those who cannot defend themselves, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you got that? Lynn's Warriors. And also, don't forget, Lionel Legal. For those people, there's big things busting in the Eric Adams case. Big things busting coming about regarding Diddy. We'll get to that. Not too many subjects at the same time. I don't want you to get confused. All right, dear friends. We'll talk to you later. Have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.